very interesting story, Melissa, about MBA students who are doing some interesting projects while they're in school. Tell us a little bit about them and what's different that you've discovered.
So business school students have been doing these consulting projects for a very long time, and they're usually a semester long, kind of a quick assess a potential takeover candidate or run through the numbers and do some financial modeling for us. But now companies are relying on them for more and bigger projects. So Dr. Pepper Snapple has handed over their Yoo-Hoo brand to 2 MBAs at the McCombs School at University of Texas at Austin. And they're running the entire marketing campaign. I mean,
this is the $100 million in sales, this brand?
Yeah, $100 million in sales last year. And so it's not a tiny brand. It's certainly not one of Dr. Pepper Snapple's big brands, which is why they're willing to hand it off to some students. But
the students aren't getting paid, right?
No.
But the school is getting paid, and a fair amount of money.
The school does get paid by Dr. Pepper Snapple because they're a sponsor of this marketing center at the school.
What's really behind these sponsorships? Because what's interesting about your story is you mentioned that these kinds of gigs are happening at more business schools. And look, if I'm a student, I love real world experience. It's something to put on my resume to talk about when I graduate and I go through interviews. But the schools are getting so much money here. What's really behind these sponsorships and why?
I mean, listen, it's a nice financial boost for the school. All of the schools I spoke to said they're not doing it for the revenue. They're not doing it as a profit maker.
It's never about the money.
It's never about the money. But you know, they're booking $7,000 to $9,000 per project. Often they'll have 15 projects per semester, 2 semesters in a year. You do the math. It's a lot of money that they're putting in.
A couple of thoughts come to mind. First of all, exploitation of free labor, and the ability to have people actually focus on and do work on something that you would normally pay people to do. And secondly, sort of undermining the work that the people you employ, the other people who are working on brands who might have the same size, and say, oh yeah, we're just going to bring in these people from the University of Texas to do it. And that's kind of what we think of your work, is that we can just bring in a bunch of college kids to basically take over this $100 million brand.
And it's funny that you mentioned the college kids, because more and more undergraduate business schools are also doing this. You have 19, 20-year-olds working on these projects. The Yoo-Hoo brand is MBA students. They're a little bit older. They're in their late 20s, early 30s. They have some, kind of work experience, but they're not necessarily from marketing backgrounds. So this is kind of their first entree into the marketing world, and they're doing it. And yes, they don't get paid, but they do get course credit, so that makes it all okay.